We want you to come on in and share this message out. Share it out to your colleagues, share it out to your friends, share it out to your family members. We want to talk about mental health and relationships today. It's going to be a great chat. We really appreciate you spending these 30 minutes with us. And whether you're watching us live during your lunch or your break, or whether you're watching this live later on, we appreciate the time you're spending to listen to our content. We also want you to comment and let us know where are you from, where are you watching in from. Let us know your name. We want to shout you out. Uh, we want you to be engaged in this conversation as well. So comment, like, and share. Comment, like, share. We want to make sure that we're producing content that matters to you and that inspires you. Of course, we want to uplift this conversation. And again, thank you all for being with us. Happy Thursday. We literally have one more day left, and it is going to be September. Where did August go? It literally came and it went. And today we have Lisette Grant with us. She is the owner and the CEO of Love Your Mind Mental Health Counseling. She's going to talk to us about her work and give us some really great nuggets on relationship and mental health. You're going to want to stay until the end. Lisette, how are you?
I'm fine, and yourself?
Same, same, same. I'm so happy to have you. We met not too long ago during a health fair
Yes,
the agency hosted in the Bronx, in the
yes,
Bronx. And
yes.
it was really great meeting you. And we really connected, especially around mental health and just the incredible work that you're doing, dedicated to improving the well-being and outcomes of specifically people of color and their mental health. And I love it takes a very special person to do this work.
Amen. Thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure. It was always a pleasure meeting you that day. Beautiful. Our
Amazing.
conversation was just beautiful, and we connected so well.
Yes, table was like everything. So if you guys did not catch the recap of the wellness fair back in July, definitely visit iRace Inc. page and you'll see it all up there. You'll see the work that she's doing and also how wonderful her table looked.
Thank you.
Talking
Thank,
skills too.
thank you.
Absolutely. Well, let me jump into your bio and then we'll jump right into the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lisette is the Chief Executive Officer and owner of Love Your Mind Mental Health Counseling Services, which includes individual therapy, couples counseling. So, y'all, you're interested in couples or marital counseling, this is going to be your girl. Christian counseling and grief counseling. Lisette has over 10 years of experience within the mental health field and assisting others through their life struggles, especially with the losses we experience in life. Therapeutic approaches and assisting clients with communication styles, forgiveness. Ooh, that's the big F word right there.
Yeah.
Forgiveness towards others and self. That's so empowering. Changing negative thinking patterns and learning to manage bereavement through grief counseling. Welcome again, Lisette.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, well, let's jump into what inspired you to go into mental health. Again, it takes a very special person to do this work. So, what was it for you that inspired you to get into this work?
I give it to God. One of my professors in undergrad at the College in Rochelle, a black woman, um, called me one day. I was coming home from work, and she was like, "Oh, Lisette, the graduate school is going to be here." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like in my head, I was like, "Why are you telling me?"
Yeah,
So she was like, "Well, be here at 12 o'clock." I was like, "No, 11. I think it was 11 or 12. I'm not sure of the time." And I was like, "Huh? Okay, we're all black. Oh, okay." So I went, got accepted. It was
easy.
a great decision.
Wow, it was almost like destiny, and she was
Yeah,
like your Sherpa, is what I
yeah,
like to call them, your helper, like the one that guided you to where you were supposed to be.
exactly. She sure did.
Yeah, and
God
you
used her mightily.
I love that.
Yes.
And so you now are CEO and founder of your own practice. What inspired you to start your practice?
Um, Again, the father got it. But also to see we don't be as Black people, we don't know how to grieve, or do we allow ourselves to grieve or bereave for what we lost? We don't do that, and we don't, and it's not enough in the urban communities. So why not? I'm from the urban, I'm from the Bronx, and why not? Why not help those who know how to give and understand it's okay how you feel, regardless of what someone tries to tell you to get over it. It's not that easy, depending on what you know, who and what you lost.
I think that's so powerful, just pausing right there in that moment. We, as people of color, especially Black people, we have normalized trauma and
Yeah,
loss. It's like it becomes a part of the Black story. It's like you ain't really Black if you ain't really lose nobody, if you ain't really go through nothing, right?
your black card.
Right. Our Blackness is defined by trauma. I mean, like, how dysfunctional is that? Right. But I mean, we were talking about something right before we came on, and that was Dr. Joy DeGary's work. And all of it is really centered on post traumatic slave syndrome
Yes.
and the intergenerational trauma that many Black folks are still dealing with. So you're on to something really powerful.
Amen. Yes, it is. You know, and the mentality, the same generational behaviors and thought process is always passed on. The slaves wasn't allowed to bereave. They lost their husband, or if their husband was murdered, or one of the family members, if they were sold away. None of these things, they didn't get a chance to, their masters didn't get a chance. Oh, you can go sit down and think about what I just did. No, it was just internalize it, don't feel it, move on. And sometimes we do that now. It's generational. You see it. If you could remember your grandmother, the granddad died, it's part of life. And you got those who's like, oh, well, death is just a part of life. End of something's just a part of life. Get over it. It's not that easy for everybody.
You know, I find it very interesting what you're saying. Um, because I don't know if those conversations of get over it happens with people with our white counterparts. Um, Especially, when they lose or something happens tragic to them. I think there's more of a inclination to want to comfort and to show sympathy and empathy. But again, I think a lot of Blackness is defined by
Sure.
traumatizing events
Yes.
that we have learned to just cope with.
Yes.
You talk about forgiveness, and I think that also is very important. Not just forgiving others, but forgiving self. I'm wondering if you can give us a little more nuggets and wisdom on forgiveness.
Well, forgiveness is always heard from the word of God, right? But forgiveness is, people that taught you, oh, um, I forgive you, but I won't forget, or I'll forgive you and still have the animosity. There's no forgiveness. And, or the one, forgiveness is for you, not for them. But people don't believe that. I have read a book. It's a spiritual book, The Prodigal Father. And there's one thing in the book that the author had gotten into a conversation with a Jehovah Witness, and she said, "Yeah, I'll forgive you. I will forgive, but I won't forget the lessons that I learned.
Right.
Don't forget the lessons you learned, and that is so powerful.
Yeah.
We learn to forgive. Forgive them. Why hold on to it? It
Yeah.
prevents you from getting into another relationship. It prevents you from just moving on in daily life.
Yeah.
If someone says hello, you ready to rip their head off, or of someone's remind you of what they did. But the most important thing about it, what is not, I believe, is not really taught, is self forgiveness.
So powerful.
You know,
So powerful.
can you forgive yourself? Why won't you forgive yourself? You made a mistake. You didn't know no better.
Yeah.
Where you now, if you learn to forgive yourself, you can move forward in a more positive way
Yeah.
for yourself. We forget, regardless of our black people. I mean, our lives is nothing, as you said, trauma, but you got to forgive those who did it to you too. But hold on to it. It's not doing nothing for you. It's
Yeah.
not easy to let go. Sometimes the unforgiveness becomes the comforter. You gotta learn how to take off that heavy load of unforgiveness and to move forward. It's about
Yeah.
loving yourself.
Absolutely. And loving your own mind, right?
Exactly.
And I think forgiveness, when you talk about why hold on to it, people hold on to pain for so many reasons, whether it's it feels better to hold on to pain because um sometimes it's anger. Anger is that coping or that defense mechanism for many people. If I can stay angry, I don't have to feel the pain emotionally and psychologically. I don't have to feel the pain of the loss. If I can medicate myself through drugs or sex or other things, then I don't have to feel it. And so there are many reasons why I think people do hold on and don't let go. And I think a part of that is cultural. Some people really don't know how to let go. We're never taught how to. And maybe even hearing this concept for like the first time, they've been exposed to uh, spirituality or Christianity or those kinds of things. Where are people taught these lessons?
Some people were able to naturally learn and say, I don't want to be like my parents or my grandmother, cousin. I want to be happy,
Yeah,
But the thing to piggyback what you said about defense makers sometimes is just their protection.
yeah,
Unforgiveness can be a protection for some people,
yeah,
and that. No, that's not a good way of thinking of it. Unforgiveness is a better way. You learn your lesson. You understand where your behaviors was at. Sometimes take some responsibility, not all, but understand that that person probably didn't know no better. You don't have to hang out with them, and that's another misconcept of people thinking if I forgive this person, then I got to let them back in my life. No,
yeah.
you can forgive somebody, wish them the best. Hey, how you doing when you see them? And that's the end of it.
That's right. That's right. So there is a difference between reconciliation of a relationship and just forgiving a person. So I want to talk more about mental health and how it affects relationships. I think this is such a uh, it's a topic that requires a lot of time that we don't have. But if you can talk just what in your experience, what have you seen? How is mental health impacting relationships, whether with mothers and fathers and their children, or whether with significant others or in marriages? How are you seeing the impact of mental health on relationship?
I see a lot of sometimes within them, they tend to develop depression or anxiety or fight themselves to suppress it, internalize it, feel the pain. That's how you're gonna heal. But in relationships, it's a touchy topic. But we discussed before we came on air. I was explaining to you now. There's more black men seeking couples counseling. Where at the time the stigma was, oh, they just don't care, they have no emotions. But now it's seen as like it's becoming a little reverse now that you first it was the women, now it's the men doing it now and willing to work on their relationships. But sometimes you got to recognize what the person, like my girlfriend would always say, you always meet the representative, but then when you start to get to know the person, sometimes it's a little scary. Oh, I didn't realize he had, or I didn't realize they had this or they had that. Are you willing to help them through it in the relationship? That's one. Are you coming in there with forgiveness for self? You know, are you coming in there and understanding that this is a different person? It's not what you experience. Have you grown from the last relationship? Sometimes I tell people, do not, my clients, I would say, they just got out of a relationship, I'm like, stay by yourself for a while and let's go through this healing journey through therapy. So therefore, you have a better understanding of self. But there is a lot of depression that comes along, a lot of separation anxiety at some point, self guilt, a lot, and a lot of just plain old anxiousness that comes in.
Yeah. I want to also just shout out Dr. Marilyn, um, who's talking about we don't often see as forgiveness. Or I'm guessing um, he's talking about forgiveness, but in respect to grieving, that could be a sign of weakness, which I totally agree with that. So I'm lifting that up and also lifting up Roberta, who says focusing on the lessons learned is really part of the journey to forgiveness and sometimes a lot. Um, has been conditioned to hold on to hurt and living with it daily. And that's so true. So I think just to Dr. Marilyn's point, uh, I do believe that, especially for men, this holds true that grieving or even crying could really be a sign of weakness to men or perceived in certain cultures. I was wondering if you can speak to that for a moment.
Oh, I have clients, male clients, excuse me, male clients. I encourage it and hand the tissue. And are you okay? It's okay to cry. I encourage it.
Yes, I love that.
I encourage it. I encourage. It's okay. This is a safe place. I remind my clients this is a safe place.
Yes.
There's no judgment in here. Crying about it is good. It's releasing.
Yeah.
I would I have done it with female clients. I believe with male clients is too. I have a garbage pail there with the tissue. And then after, I said, throw it in the garbage. Some people normally will hold on to the tissue. I was like, no, put it in the garbage because this what you cried about it. Let's put it there and not hold on to it as a metaphor, I guess. And then at the end of the session, I'll have them tie up the garbage bag and throw it out and say, okay, you cried about it. And some are very receptive of it. And sometimes it's something new they cry about, or sometimes they might cry about the same thing. Cry. I encourage it. It's a release. It's an understanding of, oh my God, I did this, but okay, now we we still closer to the journey. We still on the journey. It's okay, but cry. It's all
It's
right.
a form of grieving, and it's a form crying is really good because it's the fact that you can still feel something.
Sense of emotion.
Yeah, a part of humanity is the ability to feel
Right.
experiences, whether it's pain or whether it's joy or gladness. So being able to feel is actually a good thing.
Yes. And it's good for the soul. As they say, it's good for the soul. And also, when you lose someone, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel the pain. You have it. It's part of the emotions. It's fine. It's just I always tell clients don't live there, but you can go ahead and cry. When they're going through, they feeling like with a breakup or the death of someone. I explain the 5 stages of grief, and even though it was for people who were dying, now it's more popular to use with people who are grieving. This is the stage you're going to go through these stages, all through it, and eventually, you know, acceptance may come very long term for some people, and some may not. But as you work towards acceptance, it's a work in progress.
Acceptance is really hard.
It is.
It's
It
hard. Like getting to acceptance, like that journey in itself, like you can lose someone and to accept it, it makes it more real and then you may feel it more, especially when it comes to loss. So how does one get to the journey of acceptance?
you go through the stages and accept the feelings that you feel. That's the thing. No one we are so taught to internalize. No, you depressed because you lost the relationship ended, or your pet passed away, or the end of a marriage, or the death of someone. You feel depressed around their birthday. Okay, it's okay. It's normal. It should be normal. It's normal. That's fine. It's cry. you know, I tell them to celebrate them. If if the birthday comes up, and what if it's a parent? What was their favorite thing that they cooked? Do you know how to cook it? Go to their favorite restaurant. You're honoring them.
Yes.
Have a picnic. Why not? They may not be there physically, but they could be there spiritually. And, you
Absolutely.
know, feel their presence. It's all right. They ain't gonna forgive you. You're never gonna lose. Once you put that person in your heart, you're not gonna lose. They're not gonna lose a place.
And there's a part of you that you there's a part of them you carry with you too,
Yes,
especially if it's a loved one. They may not be on earth, of course, if they died, but you do carry a part of that person with you, so you can keep certain things alive. And I do want to highlight Siobhan from New Jersey and Kalavi. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Highlighting Kimberly from New York, and Dr. Marilyn, I think, also had another comment, and so did Roberta. I think Roberta was talking about the idea of crying, right? Uh,
Yes.
as Lisette said, it's okay to cry, and if you do, it actually allows you to move forward on your journey to healing. So it's not necessarily just losing a person physically to death, but you can lose someone through the end of a relationship. So
Yes.
even if it's a friendship, or even a relationship with your child. Maybe you
Yes.
lost that. It used to be really close, and now things have changed and shifted. Another one that's huge is leaving a church or losing a family, a community, whether it's a church or an organization. Um, I think that's also really important because there's an attachment there. And so
Right.
when there is a detachment and a separation, there is a loss that that person experiences.
Yeah, but sometimes on the flip side of it, and when it comes to relationship, a loss is a blessing.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes it's whatever, especially a relationship or even a friend. Even I mean, I was talking about a mentally more so a romantic relationship, but also a platonic relationship, even a friendship. When one friendship it might be more toxic and you don't realize, and then you start to recognize it. Yes, you're gonna miss them. It wasn't all bad, but sometimes it's best that you just move on.
Yeah,
I mean, like acceptance is hard. Yes, it's a long, 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 long journey, but it's not on that journey. Even when you get to say, okay, they're gone, that's the reality of it, but it doesn't mean you're going to forget them.
that's right. That's right. So, what do you say, right? There are people that when they lose a loved one, say, God forbid, a child, and they start pulling all their stuff out the house, their pictures, everything about them, and they're throwing it away. Do you see that as a healthy way to heal, or
Mm,
as a not so healthy way?
that's very unhealthy for
Yeah,
me, because you're trying to get rid of the feeling. That's what it really is getting rid of the feeling or trying to internalize it.
yeah,
Okay, they don't exist, let me just, no, they're gone, that's it. No, the loss of a child, especially
yeah,
unexpected death to me, as far as like murder, a homicide or a suicide,
yeah,
and if anything, accidents, anything like that, that's to me the most hardest one,
absolutely.
because you saw them this morning, they're gone this afternoon or this evening.
God forbid. Right,
Oh, God forbid, right?
right.
And then if you had an argument, here comes the guilt.
Absolutely.
So then we go to the stages of grief. It goes, if I was bargaining, at the stage of bargaining, if I would have did this, if I would have said that, oh my God, I feel depressed. It's okay.
What if I would have saved them? What if I could have done something
Right,
differently? What if I was there at this hour? Would that have changed things?
right.
It's guilt.
Yes. It's guilt with, especially if they had the disagreement, and or um, just the disagreement alone can hurt someone. Those experiences, those sessions are hard, and try to help the client to understand it's not your fault.
Yeah,
And understand if there was a good day, if you didn't have an argument, that could have happened.
that's right.
You know what I mean? We all have an expiration date, but we
Yeah,
still know that, but it's okay to grieve. It's
yeah,
beautiful to do so. No, don't throw the pictures. I'll remember them.
yeah,
As in time, to do it, it'll be a concern if it was you building a shrine, more so than is that you're like, okay, slowly letting go. My father passed away 20 years ago. I still have the pamphlets.
wow. I love that. I love that.
You know, so
Yeah. I love that. And I think what you said was like the celebrating those that you may have a loved one that you lost through keeping your legacy alive.
yes, the
Um,
memories.
celebrating them. We're celebrating even holidays, or just bringing it, embracing those positive memories because they can bring a sense of comfort to you.
Yes. I have a girlfriend. I get on the phone when we talk. Her mother passed away. Her parents passed away. Mine's my dad. My mom's still around. And we joke around. I joke around about like the things he would say, the things he would do.
Yeah.
You start laughing. I'll be like, my father
Yeah.
was something else,
Yeah.
and and touched up wish she was here from both graduations, but she even reminded me he was there in spirit. His sister came to represent. So that that support system and that love with someone who really can relate and understand, and even so, that's it. But the negativity of that, some people will be like, oh my God, it's part of life, just get over it.
Yeah.
They're gone. Yeah, that's how you deal with it. You can't expect everybody else to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to just shout out Nicole and her comments about false sense of healing, uh, saying that she used to do that, which is, I think, similar to what Roberta is saying about the difference between acceptance and tolerance. Tolerance being something that creates a state that's unhealthy, and acceptance being more feeling more in control. So I want to highlight those two things. And I know we only have a few minutes left.
Yes.
So I want to get into one last question, and that's about people of color.
Yes.
How do we heal?
You gotta recognize there's a problem first.
Yeah,
Identify the problem. You're not the only one. We're not the only one. There's, our counterparts of different races as well. They have a problem too, but if you recognize it and work towards the healing process of it and be like, okay, I realize I'm A or B. I need to work on that if I want to be healthy to myself and be in a healthy relationship with
yeah,
self or others, you know,
right.
recognizing it. And the stigma of therapy does not mean that you're crazy.
That's right.
Therapy, therapists go to therapy,
Right.
right? So, no, you just come in to be heard. Did
Yeah,
you want to feel no judgment? We don't know you. We don't know each other, right? But you come in to sit down and just emotionally, either emotionally throw up or
yeah,
and recognize your own issues that you want to work on.
yeah. And also want to just to third part to that is people of color, we may heal a little differently. So
Yes,
if the traditional talking doesn't work for you, and perhaps expressive arts therapy or music or dance. These are all different ways to bring healing to the soul. So there's not just one way to heal. There are
exactly.
many ways to heal. Healing looks very different for different people. And I just want to highlight that, especially if you're a social worker, a mental health worker, encouraging you to embrace other interventions and forms of therapy when you're working with your clients, not necessarily just a traditional therapy. I have a client that I remember saying, uh, the other day. He said, "It doesn't help me to talk." But he said, "I heal through music." And that's okay.
That's fine.
That's how you heal. But I think understanding that is really important for us.
Yes, and self healing, self forgiveness is very important. You can't forget that. You
Yeah.
must know how to forgive yourself. You didn't know no. You got to tell yourself, I didn't know no better. When you don't know no better, you don't do no better, right? When you know better, you do better.
Yeah. And
So,
lastly, what does it look like to self forgive?
um, understanding what the mistakes were, understanding that you didn't know no better. If you wasn't taught something, how could you know? And acceptance of your mistakes, acceptance of what you learned or did not learn, and understand.
Yeah,
And but don't beat yourself up for it. It's okay.
it's okay.
It's okay.
There's always a chance of redemption for everyone.
Exactly.
What's so incredible. So,
Yes. And people of color need to recognize that.
absolutely, absolutely.
For
And
redemption.
be nice to yourself, be kind to you.
Yes. Yes.
These are sometimes our harshest critics. You
Yes.
know?
Yes. I yes. Yes. I ask those questions to my clients. Are you judgmental to yourself?
Yeah.
Are you judgmental to yourself? Are you angry with yourself for what you allowed?
Mm,
That's the only part of the responsibility is what you allowed. Now you're not going to allow it anymore. Okay, good. It's part of healing. But
yeah.
you're not going certain things you're just not going to allow. Certain things you're not going to do. The behavior and the mindset will change.
Yeah. And that's a question for those that are watching to answer. Are you judgmental to yourself?
I was.
You know, for those, not just us, but those that are listening. And I would be honest and say a lot of times I am
Yes.
very judgmental to my own self. We
Yes.
tend to put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but we're human. Embrace the human experience and give
Yes.
yourself grace.
Yes. Definitely. Oh, come to therapy.
Come to therapy.
Yes. Come to
Come to
therapy to
therapy.
understand the concepts. Because
Yeah,
then you talk to your friends, and your friends will sit there and tell you, "Oh, you shouldn't have did this. You shouldn't have did that, and then this and this and that." And some of them are not understanding.
yeah,
So
yeah,
come to a place that is not a non-judgment zone,
absolutely.
right? And spill your emotional guts and what your thoughts are, and but be willing to learn new techniques to change for a
Yeah,
better you,
be open. Be open and be willing.
and be willing.
Will reach you, Lisette, if they're interested in your services.
I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I also have a website, loveyourmind.info. My number is 917-974-5892.
Guys, that was Lisette. She is absolutely incredible. You heard from her yourself. Loveyourmind.info. Please reach out to her if you're interested in couples, marital counseling, therapy. She does it all. And like she said, there are men that's reaching out. So, men, I don't want you guys to be afraid of therapy. There's nothing to be afraid of. There is a better you. And so we want you to take the next step, especially in honor of Suicide Awareness Month, which starts tomorrow, September the 1st. We're going to be doing a lot of conversations about this. We want to make sure that you are informed, you're inspired, and that you feel uplifted. That's what these talks are about. So, Lisette, we are coming to a close, but
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me. I really do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. And shout out to all of you for engaging and for being here. We appreciate each of you. Thank you for
Yes.
following our content. Don't forget to subscribe to us at iRaise Inc. on all social media platforms. Don't forget to follow me on all platforms at Shaniqua E. Moore. And don't forget to subscribe to our ATL Rise podcast. New episodes are released every Friday. And tomorrow we have a very special treat for you. So make sure you subscribe, and do that with yourself. Share the message out. We want to make sure we reach as many people as possible. Thank
Yes.
you all so much. Thank you, listeners.
Bye bye.
Bye.